Carol Carnes, and this is Living Consciously. Well, I'm titling today's program, What Time Is It? You know, time is a very big subject, especially when you look at it spiritually and cosmically. It's not a thing, it's an experience. I just returned from a trip to Canada where I spoke at the former center where I was the senior minister for 12 years. And people came out of the woodwork to see me, people I haven't seen since the 90s, and it was really wonderful. But my point is, it was as if no time had passed at all, because we were all just present and we had a connection. And it's that connection that is the source of our happiness. It has nothing to do with how long or how little we've known each other. It's this moment. And living in this moment is a big topic in modern spirituality, and you can't talk about it too much, really. It's a great practice. Time does not flow. And we're so used to thinking in terms of time flowing that we've trained our mind to be anywhere but here. It's a function of the mind to draw from the past, perhaps learn from it, and project into the future thinking about goals and personal vision and that sort of thing. It's the capacity the mind has, but unfortunately, in our Western culture especially, they have become the dominant way we use our mind, and we've left out the middle. We've left out one of the most important aspects of self-awareness, and that is just being present here in this moment. I remember when I was about 4, my mother was getting us kids ready to go somewhere, and I said, "When are we going?" And she said, "In about an hour." And I looked at her and said, "What's an hour?" Child doesn't have any concept of that. She had a little bit of trouble describing it to me. You know, you could say, well, it's 60 minutes. What's a minute? It's 60 seconds. What's a second? And, you know, she really couldn't do it. Because to a child, there is no such thing as flowing time. There's just now, and now, and now. And when you think about it, that's what life is. A lot of nows strung together that we call a lifetime. Somehow we've concluded that being in the present moment like a child is not the right way to live. Somehow we've decided that that's childish, and that we ought to be constantly preparing for something rather than experiencing what is right here and right now. There's a character in Dostoevsky's novel, The Possessed, and this character says, when man attains bliss, there will be no time because there will be no use for it. So let's talk about what our use for time is. You know, what do you use time for? What effect does time have on us? Do we sense there's not enough of it? It's always running out, or it's too long, something takes too long. You know, that's a signal that we're not present. Our mind is drifting off or drifting back. So could our lives be a little more like some of the advice we got in childhood? You know, in the 90s, I think it was the 90s, there was this best-selling book called Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. And I was thinking about that this morning, how true that is. And one of the things we learned in kindergarten, because when I was in kindergarten, we used to walk home from school by ourselves with a little group. And we had to cross a very busy boulevard. It had signals and we had crossing guards, but still, we were taught to stop, look, and listen, right? Stop before you take a step off that curb. Listen to see if you hear anything, a siren or anything coming really fast. Stop, look to see what's on both sides. This is good advice today. It's good advice when you're driving. Stop, look, and listen. See what's around you. See what is happening. I brought my own book today that I wrote some years ago, and I found this on page 63. This is my book, The Way In. You can get it on Amazon or Lulu, or you can get the ebook on lulu.com, L-U-L-U. Anyway, so I'm going to read a little bit from it. The great metaphysical teacher Raymond Charles Barker admonished us to exercise our spiritual muscles. He was not referring to meditation or prayer, but to opening our eyes to the wonder around us. He said even a pebble on the beach can be seen as a fine work of art. Trying to view everything with fresh eyes is a spiritual practice in itself, and it has to do with being present now. We begin to notice that we have stopped comparing, that the great and the small are identical in their uniqueness and in their value. In fact, we may cease to place value on anything while deeming it all miraculous. So it is easy to witness the perfection and beauty in nature, but it takes a little more intention to find it in the city, on a crowded bus, or in an angry person. We have to develop our perception, and it takes practice. So why not start with ourselves today? There's more, but you can read it for yourself when you get the book. So what makes it so difficult for us to be happy most of the time is that we're not present. And we are projecting onto what we see as if it is something that's going to be harmful to us in the future, rather than just experiencing what it is now. Does that make sense to you when you think about it? You see a raggedy person on the street, what do you think? Something's going to happen? Or do you just see a fellow being like you who may need some help, might need a little bit of financial assistance, might need a drink of water, rather than projecting what could be? It's really quite a training to be present. So look at the amazing diversity we share. I mean, when you stop your mind from traveling into the future or drifting off into the past, you can see what a miracle this life is and how much diversity there really is, from insects to animals to kinds of people to personalities. Amazing variety of life forms on this one little planet alone. It's kind of stunning when you think about it. What we see are individuals expressing, now when you're looking at people, all you're seeing are individuals expressing what they believe to be true, what they have collected, been taught, inherited, or just allowed to permeate their inner life, so that they act out what is in their inner life. Now, here's the thing. If you stop and look and listen within yourself, you're going to discover something. You're going to discover that there's a you behind that expressive self. There's a you behind the personality. There's a you behind your likes and dislikes and your fears and doubts and your loves and hopes and dreams. There's something perfect right here, right now, as you, being you, it is you. And when we tap into that a little bit on a daily basis, it colors our perception. We begin to see through all the appearances, and we realize, oh, this is just like a big dance. And everybody's changing partners and dancing to their own music and moving around and having a good time, right? It's like, I was talking to Chris Solar, who is the producer of the show, the station owner and all-around great guy. And he was telling me that he DJ'd for Halloween. So here, life is like a big masquerade party, right? A big Halloween party. Everybody's dancing to their favorite music. They're all wearing masks. They're all wearing disguises. We're all pretending to be something we're not, unless we've had some experience of discovering who we really are by being completely present in this moment. Okay, I want you to stop now. Who's here? Who's watching this program? Are you really with me? Are you really here now? Time stops if we're really here now. You know, I've mentioned this on other programs, but it can't be said too often. A dis-ease that has become a physical condition cannot progress without the passage of time, or a perception of the passage of time. And that's why certain very skillful physicians and metaphysicians and psychologists and spiritual teachers have helped people who are very sick become well by teaching them to do things that require them to be absolutely present in the moment. That something like juggling, playing music, fly fishing. It stops the progression of the disease. So when we think of disease as an interior tumultuousness, an interior, what's the word I want to use? Unease. It's a dis-ease in the mind. It comes from us being either in the past or in the future and not present. It starts to have effects on our physical self. That's something that's fairly indisputable in this world today. Okay, so stop, look, and listen to yourself. What ideas are you moving on? What ideas are prompting your behavior? What ideas are causing your reactions to things? Are you reacting to everything, or are you responding? Are we reacting from this fearful self that thinks it doesn't have enough time, that there's not enough to go around, that people are out to get me? Or are we responding from this whole self that sees this whole thing as a dance, as a beautiful party? I think it was Benjamin Franklin that referred to life as a cruise ship. He didn't say cruise ship, he said big boat. But let's think of it today as a cruise ship. And people get on and off at different times. It's a party while it's going on. And when we arrive, the party's going on. And when we leave, it'll still be going on. It's a dance of diversity, okay? This all ties together with being very aware of these things in the moment. And when and as the character in Dostoevsky's novel said, when we attain bliss, there's no time. Why? Because we're just present. That's what bliss is. Bliss is what a child feels when they don't understand time and know anything about time. They're just blissfully alive, playful, discovering, learning, absorbing. They're in bliss because time isn't real to them yet. It's when time becomes a thing that we have to deal with that life starts to be difficult. When you think about how much of our life that is hard for us has to do with time. When are we going to get there? We're going to be late. We're going to be too early. I got that deadline. I got to get that article done. I got to prepare. That's stressful. And that kind of stress is not healthy. It doesn't promote health. It begins to break down this beautiful energetic system that we are. It starts blocking things. Energy gets blocked, and then our life feels like we're stuck. So very important that we look at the beliefs we brought with us from perhaps our childhood. Think how wonderful your life could be without the concept of time flowing away from us. You know, the Native American Hopi Indians, they saw time as circular, that we were always moving around the circle. It's not going this way where it falls off or drops off or ends, but it's never ending. A never-ending flow of being, of awareness, of this is who we are, this is where we are, this is who we are, this is where we are, all the time in this wonderful circle. We can train our mind to think more like that. Time is eternal, and we're not running out of time. We're not bodies in space alone. That's not all we are. We are an awareness of being, and an awareness of being in the here and the now. The only place we could be aware is right here and right now. So today, try meeting life as a little child does. And we'll talk more about that in the second part of our program today. But first, we're coming upon our break, which gives our sponsors, who we appreciate very much, a chance to sell their wares and to inform you about what they have to offer. So pay attention. Stop, look, and listen, and come back, because we'll be here.
This is a national healthcare alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. We also have other pain-relieving braces available for shoulder, ankle, and your back. Call the number on your screen right now to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business. According to the secret war, banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get the secret war free. Call the number on your screen or visit online.
Hello everyone, I'm Carol Carnes and we're back. We've been talking about time today, which is not a thing, but a way of seeing things. It's a way of experiencing life, but it can be quite troublesome. When we get caught up in it, think there's not enough of it, time is running out. And so we in the modern world have to deal with all that, but we need to take steps to make sure we have an equal amount of experience. You noticed I didn't say time. Experience just being here now. You know, Henry David Thoreau, one of my heroes, wrote Walden Pond. And he said he would stand in the sunny doorway of his little cabin and just revel in the beauty of nature and the stillness and the quiet. And he said, quote, "I grew like corn in the night," unquote. I love that. You know, things grow without us even noticing them. And notice that they're growing. And the same is true of us with our spirituality. It's more like a dawning than a lightning bolt. I know a few people have had lightning bolt awarenesses, but for most of us it isn't. It's a dawning, and it happens when we stop what we're doing, look within, and listen to the self that's beyond the time-space experience. It's a very powerful practice. So today, let's practice it today. Let's try meeting life as a little child. Can we do that? Why not? That little kid is still in there. And the little kid is a psychological reference to the untroubled self, to the untrammeled soul, to the undiminished, non-victimized being that we are. It's never been troubled by anything in the outer world. It's just present as the force of the self behind our expression in the outer world. So it's a way of saying who you are, no matter what's happened, is totally intact, whole and complete right now. But the only way you know that self is to stop being this other one for a time, for a bit, and have an inner experience of solitude and quiet. I can't tell you how healing it is to be present now. So be aware of surroundings today. Like wherever you are, feel the air. I remember in Hawaii, you can feel the air in your skin. It's like something's caressing you. It's so soft. Really taste a drink of water and think what a miracle water is, isn't it? It's strange stuff. Can't live without it. And I love drinking a cool glass of water. Really be present in that moment. You can be present in the moment without meditating. Meditation is another grand and powerful way to access the soul self, which is, again, the untroubled self. And that when you access it, it does seep through the thinking mind so that you do perceive things differently, and you are less troubled in the world. I can't say it enough. Stop, look, and listen. Okay, so notice the color of the sky, the passing clouds. The other day I was driving home from El Paso. Well, someone was driving me from the airport, and the sky was completely clear, except for this one dark cloud. It looked like a spaceship hanging there. It just pulled me into it. Like, this universe is amazing. And the planet Earth is amazing. It's a miracle. And there's so much to be amazed by. But you can't do it if you're tripping off, worrying about tomorrow, worrying about your deadline, or you're tripping off into the past, regretting. You know, I picked up a book in my friend's house that I was staying with in Calgary. And it was Marianne Williamson's book. I can't remember the name of it, but I just flipped it open. And the page was talking about the very thing I was going to talk about that Sunday. And it was about how people slip into darkness in midlife when they start having regrets and guilt, and I wish I hadn't done it that way, and I should have done this, and all that sort of stuff. And that's kind of okay to let your mind go there in order to heal it. And the only way you can heal a regretting mind is to get behind it, into that space where there are no regrets. You've done nothing wrong. That's what I'm talking about. And that only happens in the immediate moment now, in stillness, in quiet, and just being present. So we can train our mind to be present, which is what I'm talking about, by noticing nature, feel the air, the drink of water, the sounds around you, the birds, even city sounds. Just be hyper aware. You're training your mind to be present rather than just shutting it out. You know, I know so many people that shut out stuff. I remember when I lived in Hawaii. This cracked me up. And you can hear the ocean from everywhere, you know. So one of my customers, I was a hairdresser then, and I was doing some lady's hair, and she said, "How can you stand the sound of that ocean, those waves pounding all night?" I just looked at her like, "Are you crazy?" People pay millions of dollars to be close enough to hear that sound. It's very soothing. So sitting by the ocean is another really good way to train your mind to be present, because the ocean is a metaphor for life. It's constant, it never stops, but it's always different, but it appears to be the same. It's really a beautiful metaphor for this dance of life, is that things come and things go and things arrive and they leave, but it's always happening. And how we experience it has nothing to do with what it's doing, but with how we're perceiving it. Are we really present, really appreciating what's there for us to appreciate? Okay, so we can do this in the car. On the way up here today, I was playing a tape by Carl Anderson, who's passed on. One of the greatest singers that ever lived, was a friend of mine. And he was Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar, if you ever saw that movie. But hearing Carl sing just took me right into this moment, because his voice was such a gift. I've never heard anyone that could sing like that. And I was so hyper aware of every nuance of his voice, how every note he stretched. It was just, that's another way to be present. And you can do it in the office. See your coworkers differently now. See them as these amazing beings, these amazing miracle beings that came here to express their spirit, which is another way of saying reveal what God is, reveal the qualities of being that we attribute to God. Happiness, joy, peace, harmony, love, beauty, order, vitality, abundance, supply, and creativity, all those things, joy, peace, love. Okay, so is it now a good time to be aware of the love that's inside of you? Because you're not going to find it anywhere else, and you might as well do it now, right? Now's a good time to stop, look, and listen, and feel the love inside of you. You know, love is overused as, it's misinterpreted and overused. People love cheeseburgers. Well, I do too, but real love is being one with. So when you breathe in and breathe out, you're one with the action of the universe, which is and it is a rhythm. It's like your heart. It's the breath. When we're conscious of our breath, we're kind of one with nature. And the ocean, it's breathing in and breathing. Everything is like that. Everything is action and rest, action and rest. Without the rest part, it dies. Your heart beats and rests, beats and rests, beats and rests. It's the rest part that's so important. So the mind thinks and stops, thinks and stops, thinks and stops. Most people never stop. Thinking. It'll wear you out. You've got to stop. Think of your mind, think of thoughts as a heartbeat. And you want to put some space between them. Can you do that? Yes. Everything I've said today about being in nature, being hyper aware of drinking of water, that puts space between your thoughts. And that's what you want to do. That's what the human race is just missing all over the place. So much doing, thinking, reacting. Very little living, very little presence, very little joy, because there's no room for it. Too busy. All right. So let's challenge some old ideas that we have about time, about our place in the universe, about who we are. You can let the ideas of your parents go and still love them. You don't have to honor beliefs that don't serve you. Let them go. And surround yourself with people who love being alive and who think positively and believe in the greater good of all. It's important that we do this. So stop what you're thinking, look at the idea behind it, listen to your higher self, which knows better. And come and see me on Sunday morning at 10:30 at the Mesilla Community Center on Calle de Santiago. It's a beautiful center. Lovely group of people, small but smart. I only attract smart people. And so we do a talk like this, we do meditation, and we have a dialogue afterwards. You'll love it. It's good for you. It's a good way to start your week. And you can find out more about us on our website, which you see right behind me on that sign, right there, mvcsl.org. Get on it. You can find out a little bit more about what we do and what's coming up. And, or see my website, carolcarnes.com. I write a column every day that's put up there, so you might want to see it. Okay, until we meet again, it's been wonderful being with you. Stay present, stay tuned in, stop, look, and listen. Till we meet again, bye-bye.